Welcome back to the crypto channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is getting extremely close to a new all-time record high breakout. So yes, I am still in my Bitcoin long position, betting on more bullish price action. And in just a moment, I'll be sharing exactly how I'm planning to make a lot of profits from the next Bitcoin move. But this is happening while the Bitcoin dominance is playing out a short-term bullish divergence, which is not good for the altcoin market, as we are seeing right now with XRP perfectly rejecting from my exact area of resistance, while Ethereum is still only just holding above this crucial area of support in the short term. So I'll be talking about all of that and so much more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, we need to take a look at some Bitcoin news today because we've just had a massive week for the spot Bitcoin ETFs over on Wall Street. So we can see here on Monday, we saw a net inflow of over $500 million US. Tuesday, a net inflow of around 430 million. Wednesday, a net inflow of 675 million. Thursday, 627 million. And Friday, finishing off the week with a net inflow of almost $1 billion US, around 985 million US coming into the spot Bitcoin ETFs to buy Bitcoin just in one single trading day. And so that's actually one of the highest ever inflows that we've seen in a single trading day. So we can see here the best on record has been about 1.4 billion. So once again, Friday, just yesterday, almost $1 billion US. That is a massive inflow, basically causing huge buying pressure, helping to push up the price of Bitcoin. And so right now, not only are some retail investors potentially feeling the FOMO with this short-term pump, we're also seeing Wall Street pump in not just hundreds of millions, but now multiple billions of dollars over this week so far coming into Bitcoin from Wall Street investors. And if we're looking at the Bitcoin charts today on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, this super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we're potentially about to invalidate this bearish divergence with this next weekly candle close. Now, this next weekly candle close confirms in a little over 1 day from now, around 1 day to 1.5 days from now. And the exact time that this weekly candle actually closes and starts the next weekly candle is at exactly midnight UTC on Sunday night or Monday morning, essentially the very end of the week UTC. And for as long as we confirm this weekly candle close in a little over 1 day from now above these previous weekly candle closes at the previous highs here, which by the way is sitting at roughly 119,500, if we confirm this weekly candle close in a little over 1 day from now above those previous highs just here in the candle closes, then that officially creates a new higher high, of course, in the weekly candle closes, which means at least temporarily that would invalidate this bearish divergence, basically meaning it's already played out. Obviously, it did play out very nicely over the last couple of months here, as I said, since basically around July onwards. Obviously, from July onwards, we did see a larger cool off, basically a slowdown in the bull market, failing to break out into new all-time highs for at least a couple of months, which is what I said back in July. I said expect potentially for a couple of months a larger slowdown in the bull market, but not necessarily the end of the bull market is exactly what I said over the last couple of months. But we have to now keep in mind that, of course, even if we temporarily invalidate this bearish divergence, which could be now likely at the next weekly candle close, we could possibly form another bearish divergence, or basically extend the size of this bearish divergence later on if the weekly Bitcoin RSI is still sitting in lower highs. So for example, if we pump a little bit higher, see a slight little all-time high breakout here, but if we don't really go a lot higher, if we just go a little bit higher and then start cooling off straight away, then the RSI could likely still be sitting in lower highs, confirming or forming another bearish divergence later on. And so that's just something to watch out for, but I'm letting you know in advance, it is quite likely now that we're going to break out above these previous highs in the weekly candle closes, which would, at least for now, invalidate this bearish divergence on the weekly Bitcoin price chart. And of course, on the 3-day Bitcoin price chart, over the last 1 day, we have now officially confirmed a bullish crossover in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD, which obviously now indicates an increase in bullish momentum. So no longer are we just seeing very flat momentum, which is what I've been saying really over the last few weeks. In fact, over the last 1 to 2 months, the momentum has been relatively flat, not overly bearish or overly bullish. We have been seeing short-term bearish and short-term bullish moves, but in terms of the larger momentum in the market, we could see it has been relatively flat flat for some time. But of course, this major bullish crossover that we've just seen confirmed and the momentum continuing further into the bullish direction, the last couple of times we saw signals similar to this one right now. Of course, we saw potentially at least a little bit more, but potentially a lot more bullish price action still to come following a bullish crossover in this indicator on this time frame. And so, like I already said in my last video, get ready for an all-time high breakout. It's extremely likely, basically, the moment we broke out above around 117k, 118k, basically these previous highs back here, I said even before we saw that breakout, I said if we break out above these highs with confirmation, so a candle close on the daily time frame above around 117k, 118k, in that situation, that will significantly increase the probability that we're going to head towards all-time highs and likely see a new all-time high breakout very soon. And so obviously over the last few days, we have continued that move. Once we confirmed a breakout above this previous high right here at 117k, 118k, we continue to move, and so far we've made it to almost all-time highs. We made it towards up to around $124,000 per Bitcoin, which is roughly the all-time high. The current all-time high, at least on this chart right here, is at roughly 124,500. And so we did get very close to all-time highs already, but obviously not yet hitting new all-time highs. But once again, it is extremely close right now, and really there's not a lot of resistance between the current price and new all-time highs, which means it is very likely that in the coming days or over the next 1 or 2 weeks, sometime soon, expect an all-time high breakout as a very likely scenario. And of course, we still have this hidden bullish divergence technically playing out for the price of Bitcoin, which is yet another bullish signal pointing towards bullish price action. But if we're looking at the immediate short term here on the 4-hour time frame, of course, during this bullish move that has been clearly playing out over the last week, give or take, we can see little cool-offs along the way. So just keep that in mind. Of course, it's not going to be a straight line towards the upside. And so don't be fooled. If we see a slight little pullback like this or a bit of a sideways consolidation, that's not necessarily the end of the bullish move. We're potentially just cooling off after hitting maybe overbought like what we've seen over the last few days. Obviously, for the last few days, we have been in overbought, so we have seen slight little cool-offs here and there. And in fact, over the last few hours, over the last one day, we are currently in a little bit of a short-term cool-off here. And this is in fact very healthy for the price of Bitcoin, healthy for the bullish trend. It creates more of a sustainable bullish trend if we do see these little cool-offs along the way, because that helps to reset the RSI back towards the downside, giving us more room towards the upside later on to ultimately continue a bullish trend. And so considering the fact that we're still technically sitting in overbought territories in the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI, don't be surprised if maybe we see a little bit more of a short-term cool-off. But once again, we're still clearly looking bullish if we're talking about the larger movement here. So keep that in mind. If I'm saying maybe we might see a slight little cool-off, don't expect massive bearish price action. Remember, the momentum is all flipping bullish right now, bullish crossover. And of course, we're playing out a hidden bullish divergence. We're also playing out a double bottom or W pattern, which, by the way, the technical price target for this breakout right here, if we're taking the measured move, that price target is sitting at approximately 126k to 127k. So from the point of the breakout, if you took the trade right here, even if you missed my entry all the way down here, if you took the breakout trade at 117k, 118k to that price target, that's still around a 7 to 8% move if you took the trade from there. But even from where we are right now, as of recording this video, to that price target, that's still around a 3 or 4% move, which, for example, if you're in a 10x leverage long position, around a 30 to 40% profit in that example. And so I've tried my best over the last few days in my last few videos to really make it clear that the current strategy is to simply bet on bullish price action, whether that means buying Bitcoin, longing Bitcoin. That's exactly what I've been sharing that I'm currently doing with my own money. As always, not financial advice. Legally, I cannot give you any personal financial advice, but I can share you what I'm currently doing with my own money, which every day since 110k onwards has been betting on bullish price action. And so you can see here for yourself with my current Bitcoin long position, my entry price was literally at 110k right at the very beginning of all of this bullish price action is where I put my money on the line, put my reputation on the line, saying expect more bullish price action. I'm opening a long position right here at 110k, and I've been talking about this long position every single day since that point onwards. And over the last one day, I've made no new changes to this trade, so it's still roughly a $60,000 trade. When I opened the trade, it was about a 200k Bitcoin long position, but along the way, I have taken a little bit of profits here and there, but still overall remaining long, just slightly reducing the size of the trade along the way towards the upside. And so by doing that, and also by moving a stop loss further into profits as the trade moves further into profits, I can still continue profiting from more bullish price action. I basically leave my upside potential open because I haven't closed the entire trade. I'm still long on Bitcoin, but even in the worst case scenario, if the price just crashes all of a sudden for whatever reason, I've already secured profits and I have a stop loss sitting in profits as well. And so that's basically my trading strategy. Not much changed over the last one day. That's how I'm planning to profit a lot from the coming Bitcoin move, which is likely going to be an all-time high breakout, whether it's in the next couple of days or maybe in the next 1 or 2 weeks. Obviously, I can't guarantee if it's going to happen right now, but I am saying it's very, very likely we're going to see new all-time highs very soon, at some point soon, for the price of Bitcoin, which is why I'm still long on Bitcoin, betting my money on more bullish price action. And so currently giving you a quick update on this long position, it's still around 6,000 USD in realized, already secured profits, and about 6,800, almost 7,000 USD in unrealized profits. And all of these profits here are basically in under a week. From this entry point right here to where we are right now, it's been about 6 days. So in less than a week, a bunch of very quick and easy profits here to be made in crypto. And once again, we potentially still have a lot more opportunity still to go. We still haven't even hit all-time highs, at least not yet. And so definitely make sure you're subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos. And of course, if you want to take trades like this for yourself, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking this trade right here over on Bitfinex. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bitfinex below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim massive trading and deposit bonuses. For example, you can claim up to 120,000 USDT out of a prize pool here for trading bonuses, just simply by trading crypto using that link. And there's also deposit bonuses here. For example, if you deposit as little as $100, you get a $20 bonus, or if you deposit 1,000 USDT, you get a $200 bonus into your Bitfinex account. Basically free money from the exchange just by making an account, making a deposit, starting to trade crypto using that link. But unfortunately, if you don't use that link, you can't claim any of these major bonuses here. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using that link. And in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want Bitfinex as an exchange, there's also 2bit as another option out there, another exchange that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can also claim massive trading and deposit bonuses. For example, you can claim up to 10,000 USDT in trial fund bonuses and 8,000 USDT in actual withdrawable stable coins just by depositing and trading crypto using that link. And also without making any trade or any deposit, just by making an account using that link below the video to 2bit, the second link below the video, once again, take you to this page right here where you can claim a 30 USDT bonus, a sign up bonus, and also 1 month free VIP 3 upgrade just simply by making an account using that link. So in other words, you get very, very cheap trading fees over on 2bit, but only if you use that link. So once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway or getting ready for the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using the links below the video on those exchanges. If you want to claim these major bonuses here, you might as well take advantage of this. It's basically free money from the exchange just by trading crypto anyway. And in case you're wondering, yes, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and obviously over the last few days or so, we've already wiped out a lot of short positions in the market, a lot of liquidity that was building to the upside, but obviously has now been wiped out. And so of course, that area was sitting in between roughly 118K towards around 120K. So we've already wiped out that area. And currently we don't really have a lot of liquidity immediately towards the downside. We would have to get all the way back down here at around 108K towards the next significant downside liquidity. But right now, obviously that's extremely unlikely considering all of the bullish momentum in the market and breaking out above resistance, all of that. And so we do have a small amount of liquidity to the upside building at around 124,500, also a small amount at around 131,000. And the next massive area areas of liquidity towards the upside at around 136, 137k, and also closer towards 140k. So if we actually end up seeing a major all-time high breakout in the coming days here, those could potentially be some major price targets towards the upside to pay attention to with these long positions right here to potentially continue to make a lot of profits in the market. But as always, especially if you're in the altcoin market, we can't just rely on the price of Bitcoin. We need to also look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the 3-day time frame. And like I've been saying every day for weeks now on the channel, at least for around 2 weeks, if not longer, I've been saying every day here that we are playing out a short-term bullish divergence in the 3-day Bitcoin dominance price chart. And so like I've been saying every day, you can watch any of my videos over the last 1 to 2 weeks and you'll see me saying expect at least a short-term bullish relief, a slight little relief like this, not necessarily a massive move like this, but basically expect at least some bullish price action in the next few days or possibly weeks for the Bitcoin dominance. Once again, that's been perfectly playing out as I've been predicting, and I continue to predict this moving forward as a very likely scenario, at least in the coming days, possibly longer, possibly another 1 or 2 weeks, but at least in the next few days, continue to expect some short-term bullish price action for the Bitcoin dominance. A little bit more of a bullish relief like this is a very likely scenario, which basically means a lot of the altcoin market, not every altcoin, some altcoins can be outliers, but expect a lot of the altcoins to be underperforming Bitcoin, so doing a little bit worse than whatever Bitcoin is doing. And so now, obviously, that does not necessarily mean all altcoins are going to be crashing. Obviously, for example, if the Bitcoin price actually plays out a major bullish move like this, some altcoins, in fact, a lot of altcoins will likely play out some bullish price action as well, but maybe not as much bullish price action as what Bitcoin is doing. Or for example, if Bitcoin has a little bit of a cool off, some altcoins, in fact, a lot of altcoins will likely have a little bit further of a pullback if Bitcoin's playing out something similar. So basically expect something similar to what Bitcoin is doing for a lot of altcoins, but a little bit worse than whatever Bitcoin is doing due to the fact that the Bitcoin dominance is having this bullish relief, which will likely continue. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, right now the price of ETH is still trading in this same sideways price range, which I actually talked about here on the channel weeks, if not months ago now, since all the way back up here, I've been saying expect the price to remain in this sideways price range for a while. And right now, this area of support is still sitting in between around 3.9k to 4.1k. And this area of resistance is still sitting in between around 4.8k to 4.9k. And if we're zooming into the somewhat shorter term here on the 8-hour time frame, currently as of recording the video, the price of ETH is somewhat struggling to hold above this area. We're only just holding above this area as of recording this video, and this is an area of support to watch out for, which was previous support and also previous resistance, and that's sitting in between around 4470 to 4.5k. And just over the last 1 day or so, we did see a breakout above that area, and so far holding this as support. But if, for example, we confirm an 8-hour or especially a daily candle close back below around 4470, 4460, and especially if we fail to then get back above that area, in that situation, that would be a bit of a breakdown in this bullish price structure here, possibly pointing towards perhaps even this area as the next price target towards the downside, in between around 4250 to 4280. So at close to 4.3k, just under 4.3k, that's likely the next price target here for Ethereum if we fail to hold this area. Once again, I want to make that clear, at least as recording this video, we've not yet confirmed a break back below this area of support that we are testing right now. And as I always say, definitely pay attention to what the price of Bitcoin and also what the Bitcoin dominance is doing to figure out what is likely going to happen for a lot of altcoins, including Ethereum. So for example, if the price of Bitcoin continues a little bit more of a short-term cool-off like this, resetting the RSI out of overbought, and if that's happening while we're seeing a bullish relief in the Bitcoin dominance, then that increases the probability we could potentially see a bit of a short-term breakdown here for Ethereum and a lot of altcoins. But when Bitcoin eventually makes an all-time high breakout, also expect at least some bullish price action for altcoins. So once again, if we see an all-time high breakout for Bitcoin, Ethereum will likely play out at least some bullish price action, like what we did over the last few days, over the last 1 week, alongside this short-term bullish move or this major bullish move for Bitcoin here. But once again, if the Bitcoin dominance is playing out a bullish relief, then Ethereum will still likely be underperforming Bitcoin. So just doing a little bit worse than whatever Bitcoin is doing. And if we're taking a look at Solana on the 2-day time frame, right now the price of Solana is struggling at this exact level of resistance here, sitting at around $230 approximately. So obviously that was previous support just here and is now acting as resistance, which is not really a good sign, at least in the short term for Solana. Technically, as of recording the video, we're still within a longer term bullish trend. We've not yet actually confirmed a massive trend reversal, at least not as of right now. But once again, we still have resistance at give or take 230, even slightly above $230, and also more resistance in between 250 to 260. And as for support, expect some support at around 215 to 216, and a lot of support in between 190 to 200. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour Solana price chart, we can see that right now, alongside Ethereum currently cooling off a little bit, and of course Bitcoin cooling off a little bit from overbought, the short-term Solana price chart is also cooling off from overbought territories, overbought signals here on the 4-hour Solana RSI. And of course, the last time we hit overbought in the 4-hour Solana RSI was all the way back here around the 12th of September approximately. And what came next was a little bit of a short-term cool-off for Solana, just some slight little pullbacks here, helping to reset the RSI out of overbought. Not necessarily the end of all of the bullish price action. We did see another pump later on and actually created another higher high later on. But just keep in mind, obviously, when we hit overbought, that increases the probability that we're going to see a little bit of a cool off moving forward over the next 1 or 2 days, especially if we're talking about the 4-hour time frame here. And remember, as I've been saying throughout the video and pretty much all of my recent videos here on the channel, pay attention to what the price of Bitcoin and what the Bitcoin dominance are doing. So based on the current situation for the price of Bitcoin, likely going to have slight little cool off here in the immediate short term, alongside the bullish relief in the Bitcoin dominance. Obviously, that's not really good for altcoins, at least in the short term. For maybe the next 24 hours, expect a little bit more of a cool off for Solana and a lot of altcoins. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, we still technically have that massive bearish divergence to watch out for, which has not yet been invalidated. So as I said, since back in July, expect a larger cool off. And of course, that has been what has played out, obviously, since around July onwards. But if we're taking a look at the daily XRP price chart, right now the price of XRP is perfectly rejecting from my exact area of resistance, sitting in between around $3.10 to $3.15. And so as we could see here, basically the moment we hit $3.10, even about 0.01 cent above $3.10, the moment we just entered into this exact area, we started to struggle and reject from that area, which is to be expected. As I've been warning about, that is strong resistance to pay attention to. And so all of this is very normal price action. Obviously, we've seen many rejections from this exact area many times over the last few weeks, if not months on the price chart. So right now we're potentially about to retest some points of support. First of all, our first major point of support to watch out for is around here, based on this support and this resistance sitting at approximately $2.93 to $2.94. But if we actually break below that level right there, it could be likely we could retest this area of support, especially if the price of Bitcoin continues a cool off over the next 1 or 2 days, while the Bitcoin dominance is still looking relatively strong in the short term. That will increase the probability we could likely see a pullback down towards this significant area of support where we've seen many major bounces from for the price of XRP, sitting in between $2.70 to $2.80. And so just don't be surprised if we do end up retesting some of these points of support to the lower side here, now that we are playing out a rejection, and now that of course Bitcoin is cooling off a little bit while we're seeing that bullish move in the Bitcoin dominance. Not too good for altcoins, at least in the short term. But technically, we're still in a bit of a sideways price range, as we can see, just kind of bouncing around sideways between support and resistance. So overall, not too bad in terms of this price structure on the daily time frame. And if we're taking a look at this daily Chainlink price chart, we're now obviously starting to break back below this point of support here, which was sitting at around $22.30. And so obviously it is important for the price of Chainlink to hold above this level, and at the very least hold above ideally $22 as a crucial level on the price chart, because if we start confirming, for example, a daily candle close back below $22, that now increases the probability of a pullback towards the next significant area of support in between $19 to $20. And as for resistance to watch out for, obviously just over the last few days, we have now developed resistance at roughly $23 to watch out for in case we see another pump here. But ultimately the next significant resistance to watch out for is at give or take take $25. We have a lot of resistance around there. But remember, as I've been saying pretty much every video here on the channel, pay attention to what the price of Bitcoin and what the Bitcoin dominance is doing to figure out what is likely going to happen for Chainlink and a lot of altcoins. So if Bitcoin's playing out this slight little cool off, which could continue perhaps in the coming hours, maybe over the next one day, while that Bitcoin dominance is continuing that bullish relief, expect a little bit of a pullback or cool off for a lot of altcoins, Chainlink included. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, like what I'm doing right now with my own money, then make sure to check out the links below the video to those exchanges if you want to claim the massive bonuses that are only available using those links on those exchanges. And if you want to actually know how you can take trades like this for yourself to make a lot of very quick and easy profits in the crypto market, like what I'm actually doing with my own money, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.